Shady's back. All right. We rock episode 42, the highest rated podcast in the monument industry.
Number one in the world.
With a bullet. The greatest. And today, we got guests.
A very special guest.
Very special guest.
Very special. The esteemed.
Oh.
Mr. Allhands.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's so nice to be welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, wow. What a live audience. Yeah. But, I mean, I feel like I should remove cover in his presence.
Your listener rate just dropped in half.
Oh, no.
You can't go down half from where we're at.
You do realize there's not a level below rock bottom, right?
Oh, okay.
It's reaching up to hit rock bottom.
So I've been told.
Oh, yeah. Well, man, we're glad you're here.
Guys.
It's kind of been a long time coming. You've been on a couple of times, and it's been in some more, laid back informal sessions. This is an actual, sit down recording this time.
Yep.
Yeah. The settings have been a little different in the past, and been a little bit more informal. So it's been nice to discuss some things, but maybe this one actually make it past the editing stage.
Well, I was about to say you have the distinction of being one of our featured guests on one of our first live recordings that we ever did.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I remember a little bit.
I mean, we were paid pretty well to keep that one off the air, though. I think if I remember correctly, it was hey, you ended up run that one, right?
I think the next day some people were like, "Ooh." So
there was really good conversation in that one. I rather had a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did too, and I think we really talked about some things that were very interesting and hot topics at the time, and.
We need to go back and revisit some of that one. Just maybe listen to it again and pull some of those stories back out, because I think that was actually we had really good conversations out of that.
Well, I think one of the things that ended up, contributing to the downfall of that one was just where we were positioned.
The audio was not good.
No, it was not, and we kept catching everybody coming in and out, and it was a hodgepodge of whoever was coming by at the moment, And
cluster was the term that came to mind more often. Cluster
something.
Yeah. I bet that was. It had some little asterisks after it, maybe.
Yeah.
It was good times, though, guys. It was good times. It was some really good topics, and what I remember of it was really well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well. No, of course, we talk about you all the time, but I don't know that everybody knows who you are. So introduce yourself just a little bit, other than Mr. Allhands, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yep, my name is Jeremiah Allhands. I own B&S Memorials. We're based out of Camden, Arkansas, and been very blessed and fortunate to be in this industry for a little while. And I'm fairly young in the company, or not in the company, but in the industry itself. Going on 5 years brick and mortar, but been in the industry at some point, pretty much since I was 18 years old. So for a while. So, but just blessed to be able to, get to the point where I'm at now and actually have, multiple locations and a production facility and those kind of things. So, it's pretty much who I am and where I'm located. It's summed up,
Yeah. Which is always a little bit bizarre for me, because you're in Camden, Arkansas. However, you're an Ole Miss fan, and so apparently you don't understand geography very well.
No, I'm an import here. I'm originally from Mississippi, a little time ago. And was born and raised in that area, and grew up an Ole Miss fan my whole life. Even though I graduated from a small D2 college called Delta State University, whose mascot is a fighting okra. That's a phenomenal.
I have heard of some good mascots before. That one is a first.
Is it pickled or is it fried?
I think it's just a raw okra.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want me a fighting okra hat now.
I'm trying to get you a shirt, man.
Man, I'm down. This is like the flying chocolates. I mean, this is this is great.
I try to tell people all the time they're really called the statesmen, but their unofficial official mascot. It's probably with boxing gloves on, so it's kind of
that's right up your alley because being an Ole Miss fan, what is y'all's actual mascot? Is it the Rebels? Is it the Black Bear? Is it the Land Sharks? I mean, y'all don't really even know there.
Us real fans who've been around for a while, we're going to favor the Rebels. Whatever the culture is at the moment, they decide to be a black bear, a shooting star, or a land shark, whatever. Who cares?
Unicorn rainbow fart, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to. So I've got a couple of topics I want to bring up. One of them actually kind of hit up on Monument Builders the other day. David Crothers, who has become one of the more entertaining posters as of late, and I think that's really kind of thanks to you, Austin.
Whenever I discovered him on TikTok.
Yeah, he got TikTok famous for his old truck that was
he had a Dodge with
rolling coal.
Turbo. Yeah,
he was rolling coal down the highway.
Smoking, son.
And that thing's going down the road, and then all of a sudden you see this bench assembled on the back of it. You're like, "Oh, that's a monument guy."
and it's funny whenever I put that video up, some of the conversation that spurred off of it, because one, I was thinking, okay, this guy's got to be in here, and of course, he didn't even post the video. It was a semi truck going down the road that saw him coming
for miles.
So that guy posted the video, and then it goes by, and of course, he's like, "Yep, that one's me." And then everybody's seeing the bench sitting in the back of the truck, and they're like, "Oh, you assembled those before you take them out?" And then it spurred on that conversation.
He was setting up smoke signals, man, like the Indians.
Well, he is in that Seminoles area over there, so yeah, it's about right.
Which props to the people that assemble those park benches and take them out like that. I'm afraid just to assemble those things. Sometimes they are finicky. I just feel like they're built to fall apart.
So we assemble them before we go out hand, but it depends upon how we can get to the spot, right? So if we know it's going to be difficult to get to the spot with any of our regular equipment, then we assemble on site. But we also do foundation caps underneath them. So that way you're picking up from the foundation cap and everything's just riding along with gravity. Yeah. So, but and that way, whether you got the crane or the your setting trailer, it works real well.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you siliconing yours together, or are you Domo then?
Domo. It's probably overkill, but you know what I have a giant fear of? I was at the funeral for we call him Coach, but he was Gloria Matthews. It's Jerry Matthews, who owned Pioneer Monument up in Northeast Texas. It's Sulphur Springs or something like that. And we were out there at the service, and one of his old buddies sat down on a bench, and the bench falls flat.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I'm not doing that no more. So no silicone for those benches anymore. And it was like a concrete bench. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a granite one. But when I saw it go over, I said, nah. All those benches, if it's getting set on, it's getting Domo.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, we do the same at our shop. Man, that's a fear I have in mind too. Somebody sitting on it, and one of the legs kicking up to the side. Or just completely falling apart, man. That would be terrible.
Yeah, we had one been a few years back. It was a pedestal style bench, and the right side of it had this big, pedestal next to it that a vase sat on top of. So the bench seat actually butted into it, and then there was a larger pedestal down below it. And that we just used our normal setting compound to put together. And the family came out there probably about 30 minutes after my guys did the set, and it was the middle of the summer, so it's hot, and let's just say it's a big family. and she sat on that
Multiple
bench.
people?
Do what?
Multiple people?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what he meant. Yeah,
That's exactly what I meant. And that bench seat damn near slid off that thing. Like, I mean, it was like basically like sitting on grease underneath it with that still, pliable setting compound. And yeah, we got lucky on that one.
Oh,
so anything now that I know that I'm not ever going to have to move again, and it's going to have somebody sitting on it or the potential of somebody climbing on it, it gets domo.
Yep. Anything over 3 foot tall, 3 foot, it gets suspect at that point in time. It could be, if it's narrow and it's 2.8, I'm going, yep, we're domoing that.
Oh yeah.
So, but no, so David had made this post. It says, what is the craziest thing that you've taken on trade for a monument?
I've never personally taken anything on trade, but I know you and I was talking earlier, and some, it just depends upon the family that you're talking to, and, of course, read the room. But they'll say, what forms of payment do you take? And I'll say, well, we take either cash, check, credit card, Bitcoin, or mineral rights. And I've yet to get the Bitcoin or mineral rights, and one day it may happen. And I'm not even set up to take Bitcoin, but if it was offered, I'm going to figure it out real quick.
Real quick.
Well, so my statement, mineral rights is about to get added to mine, but mine for the longest time has been that we take cash, check, credit card, Diners Club, old Bitcoin, old firearms, old motorcycles and cars.
There you go.
Just depends on if it's got value, we'll take it. So, and that was all kind of been set up as a joke for those families who struggle to make payment or, tight on cash and stuff like that. And not to make fun of them, but I can lighten the mood by saying something like that, to say, look, we'll work with whoever and make sure that you can get your stuff. And they don't feel like they're kind of stuck. So, and they go, oh, you take trade? Yeah. How about this? Or like, if you get something that we think is worth value, that we think that we can do something with, then sure, let's find a way to make it work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
A good one for you guys. So I think you both know that I like to hunt and fish. And I've got a guy in Mississippi that I did a little bartering with, and I traded him a memorial for his son for 300 acres to lease hunting rights on. It worked out good,
Yeah. But did you kill anything on it?
Oh, yeah, man.
All right. Well, just making sure, because that would have gone really bad if you just spent time out there.
It was some land that, was adjacent to some property that I already had, and it kind of just worked out good, and he actually gave me an easement to come in on his property to access my property. So it's kind of, I got two things out of one deal. So it worked out good in my favor, but that's probably the wildest thing or strangest thing that I've ever received.
Now, I'll say, we've never had anybody take trade with us, right? But they'll bring it. Like, we're very fortunate. They'll bring us gifts. I mean, still like years afterwards. So I've got the old guy that lives right back here behind the shop. His name is Mr. Reuter. So, the Weldon community in which our office is located was one of the founding families was the Reuters, and he still lives on the family land there that founded it. And one of the main roads, in fact, the road I accessed, I come from the house to get to the office, is called Reuter Road. So we did his monument for his wife that passed away a couple of years ago, and he still comes by and he brings us like a bag of ginger snaps. Like, in fact, by the last time he bought like 3 of them so that I could have one, and the girls could have one, and the guys outside could have one, and it's always baked goods for us. Like one lady, I say baked, but one Miss Rivers, who we've talked about before on the show.
Oh yes.
Brings me apple butter like 2 or 3 times a year, and then we'll bring like a tin of like Christmas assorted baked things that she makes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, every one of them seems to be desire to keep me fat. Is really kind of what it comes down to. So now I have gotten like tickets to games and stuff like that from customers as well. And so that's always fun. But I've never had somebody go, oh, yeah, let me have here's my third child on trade for the monument or something like that. So.
Yeah, we don't get those very often, but this guy, and I was actually the one that approached him, and I was like, man, this could be a win-win for both of us, and I approached him with it, and he was great, man. He's like, heck yeah, let's do that, And so he was out there knowing,
That sounds to me like you sold yourself short.
He didn't hunt, and it was perfect. So I mean, it worked out good for me, and we've been very blessed to kill some decent deer off of the property since we've had it. So I'm worked out, man. Especially that easement, man. Just having that easement coming through his property to access some of mine was wonderful. Kept me. It's taken a lot of time and energy having to go all the way around the world to come on the backside. So hey, I'm always looking for something like that. Come on with it.
So where is the line though? Is there a line at which you go like, look, this is where we're stopping. We're not going to accept anything from customers. And I don't mean to of course, we could talk off air about, dirty things, and I don't intend that, but there's got to be like some kind of spot where you're like, you know what? I really don't want your homemade hooch. That homemade wine you made, I don't think I'm interested in right now.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I want to continue to stay married. So be careful what you receive these days. You never know if it's been stolen. So, it's one of those things where it has to be. I don't know. You have to judge it on each circumstance, I guess, and what they're offering. So,
I'm open to doing a little horse swapping here and there.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
But of course, it's got to be something that I see value in, obviously, and it also needs to be something that I don't need to be like. I don't need grandpa's old truck, not unless we're talking like we're some fully restored.
What does old truck mean, right? I mean, are we talking? It's like, oh yeah, I'll trade your grandpa's old truck. Well, man, and it turns out it's a '67 Chevrolet, step side. It's running like a 350 in it. So. Yeah.
But I don't need something that I'm going to have to sit on and do work to try to move in order to try to recoup, anything out of it.
Right.
I'm not a pawn shop. So
no,
that's right.
No. And I would never do that on the regular by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's it's intended for, if you're going to do it, it's the one-off thing, that there's a family that has a need, can't afford something or it benefits you better or whatever. That's what I say. I mean, look, I'll absolutely take a firearm. If that's all they can do, I will take a firearm. It better be something I want, though.
I was about to say high point.
Yeah. Well, I've got an AR, and those things are a dime a dozen. But it's going to have a little bit more interest than that to me for me to be kind of start talking.
Mm-hmm. So, and thankfully, I mean, these things don't come around, very often. I mean, most people don't even think to offer, even think to present it to you. So, I guess that's a good thing, though.
Yeah,
keep that cash flow coming.
I was about to say it's kind of hard to pay the light bill with a gun. I mean,
yes,
which are you taking it with you to the bank to make sure you make that payment?
Or you could be taking it to the bank for a withdrawal. You never know.
You'll be on a whole nother podcast.
Oh yeah. So no, that's I thought that was an interesting question, and it's it was fun to kind of read a lot of the comments. There wasn't that many, but it was a good kind of like, man. I hadn't really thought about where everybody else would go with some of those things. I'm sure somebody's going to go, look, I'll trade you a fire pit or whatever for that kind of stuff. I say I haven't ever traded, but Austin, you've been to the house, the painting over the fireplace at my house. I traded some laser panels for a guy's that same artist, his studio.
That's something worth trading for.
Yeah, so that was cool, and that was a one-off painting. Mm-hmm. So I had to wait forever for it. So I think I provided my thing pretty quick, and
So
It was
then
2.5
did you
years
start
for me to get the
calling him
painting.
did you start calling him every week wanting to know where it is? What is the status of it?
Yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, it was
Can I get
man.
an ETA on that?
Yeah. When's it getting installed?
I'm gonna call you back next Tuesday and see if anything's changed.
Now that's been a one that's kind of, it's not that it's not always bad, but that's been one that's jumped up quite a bit recently as well. Is those phone calls where it's like, well, where is it? I was telling, I think we were talking last week in Austin where I had a family that would call every week, and my wife we're kind of getting to a place where she's hopefully coming on board before too long. And I'd had this conversation with her. I said, hey, I think you need to realize, and y'all both met Emily. Y'all have never, I promise you, you've never seen her trip up or tell a story ever. Ever. It is black and white. Life is black and white to her. So, which is why we work so well together. It's yin and yang, right? So she had, I had to tell her, like, you got to understand, you got to be okay with some little white lies. You can't just be full of story right up front. And she goes, well, I don't know if I can do that. And I go, well, then just don't answer those questions. Because the example being, this particular family has been calling us nonstop. When's the monument getting done? When's the monument getting done? When's the monument getting done? All that. And the monument's here, but we weren't ready to get it knocked out. It's in line. And she needed to make the final payment anyway, but it was in line. And so Janine asked, well, what do I tell her? I said, well, tell her that you have it on a load list and it's 2 weeks for delivery. And then after that, it'll probably be about 2 weeks before we can sandblast it and install it. And she says, so a month? I said, yeah. Which it's been here, but I had about a month lead time anyway. I didn't lie. I did lie, but I didn't lie. The outcome's the same either way.
Right.
But I didn't need her calling every day thinking it was here. Why is it not done?
Oh yeah.
So
She would have. Yeah.
oh, she would have. And she's a sweet lady. She just, we had gone down that road so many times trying to get her to understand that it's not next.
Mm-hmm. No, I had one.
Most parents think that you can just push it out. You know what I mean? Like their stone is the only stone you're working on. And, they think, well, if it's there, why aren't it being produced? Well, maybe because there's 300 others in front of it.
Correct.
And families don't understand.
Well, all of, this month, August for us is always get everything done for the university. University takes priority because they want to have everything done for football season. So that's been like our focus for the last month is trying to get all this stuff done. And I've had families go, well, why didn't it get done? It's like, because you don't pay as well as they do. It's like, and they kind of understand. I'm like, look, we've got to get their stuff done. They have to have it done. And you're still not scheduled to be done until October anyway. Mm-hmm. So while it's here and it's ready and it's in line, and we still produced our regular work during this time as well. But it was in between our time. So even today I had one guy over there by Aggie Park where all the tailgating's going. It's going to start tomorrow to finish one thing up. And then the other guy over at the vet school doing some touch-ups on some letters that he had to repaint. So it's been an ongoing deal. So trying to
really good, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I'm sure both of y'all can relate to this. It doesn't matter what you tell a family as far as what lead times are going to be, especially whenever they make the purchase. For some, you'll never hear from them. The only time you'll hear from them is maybe them calling, just saying, hey, stone looks great.
Yep. But
you can tell them whether your lead time's 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever. They're going to hear what they're going to want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And no. You said 4 weeks. That's what you said. You said 4 weeks. No, I did not. Well, I wouldn't have bought it if you'd have said something different. and that always turns into a pretty edgy situation because I've had one of them say, "Are you calling me a liar?" Well, no, sir. I'm not saying that you're a
I'm
liar
not-
or anything. I'm saying that you may be.
I'm not
right.
saying you're a liar, but you don't listen very well.
Right. You know,
telling them too.
my wife tells me the same thing.
I tell them to refer back to their paperwork, and I only have two ETA options on my proofs, and one of them is 18 to 36 weeks, and the second one is 9 to 12 months. So we can't tell you anything different. We only give two options, and I would rather get it out quicker than 18 to 36 weeks, but I'd rather have that 36 weeks on there just in case I needed it. So
Absolutely.
I've said forever that it's I'd rather to under promise and over deliver all day long.
absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Because you come out there's no way you don't come out looking like a hero when you do that.
That's right. Yeah, and that's when I tell people there's no way we told you that, because it's not even an option. It's not even an option company. You either have two ETA options. It's either 18 to 36 weeks or 9 to 12 months. That's it. And that's what we mark. And so that's how I know that's impossible.
Oh yeah. I had a competitor here in my area that was telling families that they would have it out in 1 week.
Whoa.
Yeah, you know how I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I don't know how they do that.
I don't either. Wow.
You got anything else going on?
They're just better at their job than we are.
Well, I mean,
did they pay a rush fee?
Now I do have that. I've actually got that listed on my little list. It says so it's called condition specific installation. So
That's
on
a really nice way to word that.
Yeah. So, and I can't take credit for that. That's another person from I guess you call it an Arkansas transplant. Allison Raymer gave me that term. So she's way more intelligent than I am. So give her the credit for it. Condition specific installation. And I use it for if you want to be present for installation.
Whoa. You charge for people to be at an installation?
Hold on. And here's why. I figured this out. So you and I had this conversation before a while back, and it really stems back to a conversation I'd had with Aaron Fainley. So Aaron would kind of jumped on me. He didn't jump on me, but he was saying, messing with me about how we don't want people present when we do installs. And we're going round and round about it, and it finally clicked. We're talking around a big aspect of this that's kind of getting ignored. And that aspect of that is that in the time that they do their monuments, they do 2 trips for every one of them, because they go do their foundations ahead of time because they've got to dig past the frost line. Yeah. Right? We do 1 trip because we do our foundations at the same time we install the monument. So the family's there present when we're digging our foundations.
Yes.
And what I realized is it's not a big deal for them to have the family present, because in having the family present, what they are doing is they're just assembling the stone there on site.
Yeah, it's just a lick and stick.
Yep. So what I realized, if I plan for 2 trips and have a surcharge for that of like 10%, and not to be lower than $250 or something like that. So I've got a minimum $250 at 10% or something. Then we will go out, we'll do our foundation, and in most cases have a foundation cap there as well. Mm-hmm. And then when we meet the family for the install, let's just set it down and walk away.
And I don't mind a family being present for the installation, because for some of them, everybody grieves differently, and there's no wrong way about it. But the problem I have with it is, one is scheduling, obviously, because sometimes these people don't live close to here, or they have work or anything like that. And of course, not like we don't have work too, but sometimes they say, well, we can't do it this day. Let's do it 3 weeks from now. And that's not as bad if you can build that out there, but it's the ones that you have on the truck and it's been part of a load that you've daisy chained together with other cemeteries. And then they call you and say, oh, we can't make it today. And it just throws a kink in everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then they want you to reschedule, and then they want you to reschedule again and again. And before long, it's 2 months have passed, and they make it seem like you're the one that's being inconvenient.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, we experience the same thing with within our company. I don't mind families being out there either to a certain extent. It's even if they have to reschedule once, I'm okay with. But man, when we start getting into 2 or 3 times or 4 times, it becomes a point where, like, look, we need to get this set and off the yard and in the cemetery. And, and for some reason, families feel like they have to be there,
Yeah.
and I'm not
And I
sure
think
why.
some of them, it comes from a lack of trust that they think that you're not going to put it in the correct spot.
I guess.
Well, and I can't necessarily fault them on that, because even just this week we had I had to call a family because her husband was buried in the wrong spot,
Mhm.
and I had to settle the whole situation. We had never been there, and so we'd been to the cemetery, but obviously we hadn't been to that plot before, and weren't there for the service. So when she's getting upset, I said, "Well, hold on, let me make some phone calls to see if I can come up with a solution for you." And I called the gravedigger. He goes, "Tony, you know how it is. I dig where they mark the plot." I know, and I agree. So I got to figure out who asked for the plot to be marked and all that. So in the end, what I ended up doing that is I said, "Look," I called her. I said, "Let's leave it as is. Leave your husband in your plot right now." I said, let's leave the monument installed where it is. Okay. The monument's correct, but I'm going to send you a letter. I'm going to send the gravedigger a letter. And I'm going to send the funeral home a letter, all that say the same thing. And that is that that your husband is in your plot. And we know this because she was going to be buried next to her father. Right. So at the time that you pass, then they will open both graves and slide your husband over so that you can be placed in next to him. And she was okay with that. And it kind of fixed everybody's problem. I don't have to make 2 trips. The grave digger can fix the issue later. It is a little bit more work on him, even though it was marked wrong before, but he's not having to make a separate trip and go dig the thing 3 times now. Mm-hmm. So, and he can go about doing his other work. So I think that those kind of situations is why we end up dealing with some of these people who go like, "Oh man, so-and-so had it wrong." Like, okay, but I didn't. I wasn't there.
I've had it before to where we scheduled with the family to set a headstone for their son. And whenever we pulled up to the cemetery, I bet there's 50 people there.
Oh, yes.
And
been there, done that.
And where it was set right off of the road. And I pull up in the truck. I have to get out and tell people, "Can you please get out of my way so I can get the truck next to the site?" Whenever we finally get through the crowd of people, there's lawn chairs set up for the grandparents to sit there and watch the whole ordeal. And then as soon as we finally get set up and start going, people start climbing on the bed of the truck. And you're having to tell people, "Please step back. You cannot be on this." And, "Well, we're just trying to get, good pictures." I understand, but you cannot be on my truck. Please get off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there must have been a skunk problem in the air. It started smelling a little skunky. But.
Yeah. I love it when we go on Facebook Live, man. I'm like,
I've had those too.
Oh, no.
And see, I didn't know I was on Facebook Live at the time, and it turned out to be a great thing for me because she had like 40-something people watching this live. And thank goodness it was one of those that, my ass crack never showed. So it was.
That's actually impressive.
It was a good day on that. But people watched us do this, and I sold about 4 headstones out of that.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's nice. Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Now, does that mean I want me or my crew to be on Facebook Live every time we do something? Absolutely
No, absolutely not.
But it does make it easier next time somebody does try to do that, because now you've experienced it. You can know what to look for, right? You know how to kind of play that out a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the thing that we get into is, you take a job that's supposed to last 45 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden you got 30 people rolling around there. You got lawn chairs everywhere. You got family members talking to you, stopping you while you're trying to work. You're having to move them out of the way so they don't get hurt, get injured on accident, and you're taking a job and turning it into something that's going to take 3 times as long, and then when you've got a schedule to keep and you've got, 10 other monuments on that truck you're trying to get done for the day, man, it just kills you. It kills your delivery schedule, and
But we're running into that right there with cemeteries right now. Not just the families, but the cemeteries. So we have one cemetery that changed their rules. So they have to be there when we show up to do the installation to show us where it has to go. Fine. But be on time, because they were 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward, and he gets there and meets with him and says, all right, now you need to call me when you're done so I can inspect it to make sure it's in the right spot.
Yep.
And so he behaves and did the right thing. So he didn't kind of piss everybody off, and he called them, and it took him another 30 minutes to show back up. And so we were supposed to be at that time. By the time he showed up, we should have been in another cemetery meeting another family.
Yep.
And you're going, sit through the whole schedule. The family's going, where is he? Where is he?
And then that family's mad at you now because you're not where you're supposed to be. And it's not because of anything we've done. It's because of, situations and circumstances that arose that you didn't account for. You didn't
Right.
even realize.
Right. So
Makes everybody, makes us look like the bad guy, and actually we had nothing to do with it,
no.
I think we've all experienced that in some type of form or fashion over the years, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It seems to be a more reoccurring instance for us, man. We're getting it more and more and more and more. People wanting to be there, wanting to be out in the cemetery. Like I said, we don't mind it one bit, but it's just getting to be ridiculous where you can't get your job done, because you're more worried about kids running around. Are they going to knock into your guys? Or they're going to knock into your phone? And then you try to be nice about it, And I use the term, I say, ma'am or sir, our insurance requires you guys to be, 250 feet away from the monument, while we're setting it. It's hard for them to, question you about that, and sometimes they listen and sometimes they don't give a dang, man. They don't care. They just whatever, we're going to sit right here on top of you and watch you do this, and take 47,000 pictures.
Because they paid you good money.
Good money, good cash. I put in full, Austin.
Do you mean if I would have? Do you mean if I'd have taken bad money, they wouldn't have been standing over my shoulder?
Hey, and it's always the one that spent $1,000 that's giving you.
Oh gosh!
And the people who spend $250,000, you never hear from. Never hear.
No.
They spent $1,000 good dollars, guys. Good dollars.
Yeah. Well, so another thing that's going on is it looks like we are entering into a contract to finally purchase the property that the office is on.
Nice.
So after all these years, and this is this is absolutely a God thing. I'm not going to try to hesitate or cover it up by any stretch of the imagination. If you don't believe, then I don't care. It's the way it went. Yeah. The way it went down was 2 weeks ago. I guess it was a week ago last Tuesday. We had I kind of came in the office. I didn't have much on my docket, so I said, all right, I'm going to get with the bank. I'm going to get with the accountant. We're going to start the ball rolling, get all this stuff moved over so we can start getting a number figured out for what they're going to approve us for so that we can go find a piece of property and buy it. And I'd already had a realtor kind of looking for a location, all that kind of stuff. I'd given her a few places. I said, let's go contact these people and see what they say. So I contact our accountant. I said, send the tax returns for these years to the bank. Here's the email and all that. He sends them over to the bank. I get confirmation from that the bank's got them. I sent the bank my business plan. And it's like my personal banker, so I've known him for a while. He texts me, he's got it. And 10 minutes later, I get a text message from the family who owns the property we've been renting for the last 15 years. Are you still interested in purchasing the property?
Wow.
I didn't reach out to her. She had no idea any of that. I mean, it was just kind of this crazy thing. Now, look, it's not a done deal. We're signing a letter of intent because there's other kind of stuff going on and whatnot. We got to figure out. She needs to figure out how they want to do stuff because they're considering doing owner finance and some other stuff, right? So it's just back and forth on some other little details, and we got to come to terms on what a number looks like. We're pretty close on the number, so the number is not the issue. It's always going to be like who's going to cover the fee to the realtor, who's going to cover the closing fees and all that other stuff. So and inspections and all that. So
and from what you've told me, of course, the timing of it, like you said, is most definitely a God thing, no doubt.
Yeah.
That it is going to be a lot more economical option for you compared to other properties that you were looking at.
Yeah, and so the big thing with that is that, as you can imagine, Jeremiah, you've got a couple locations, and so you can imagine if you're operating in one location but building another at another location, you have whatever you're paying for that current location, whether it's rent or mortgage or whatever, plus the interest on your loan of whatever your build is going on over there, and so you're getting hit twice. At the same while you're doing all that, and you're going, man, it's just you're sucking wind. And then add to that, you would end up having any advertising that you've got to do to change your address, not just change the address, but get people to understand you moved. I kind of calculated that I was going to be about $30,000 just in that.
Easy.
Yeah, because the scary thing would be you having somebody that has been a customer years before come to your old location and see nothing there anymore and think, well, he just went out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
I'm a firm believer in that, if it's meant to be, it'll happen, man. You got to open up doors and you can't do nothing but walk through them, and it sounds like to me, that's exactly what's happened here, man.
Yeah.
It's meant to be. The doors have opened and it's all in God's timing.
And absolutely blessed that they called us and we're moving this way. I mean, so it's really cool. And so what we're kind of doing is kind of getting geared up to do things right. So I've got a call with the accountant next week where we kind of start to figure out, all the stupid details that you understand, stuff like, and both of y'all understand. It's like, do you put the property in the business name, or does it go into my name, or should I put it into a separate LLC? There's currently tenants on the property, so you need to know who they're going to rent it from and what do those leases look like whenever you go out and all of that kind of stuff. And so then you have to go through all of that stuff before you ever get into what's this building going to look like. Because right now the property we're on is zoned as rural, and we've got to go flip it from rural to commercial before we can start pulling permits on building. So there's a whole deal.
Process, man. Yeah,
a
time process.
Yeah, and it's not going to be cheap either. Yeah.
Or you could run into the situation that I ran into right after that I bought my property, and of course at that point had already acquired my loan, everything.
Yeah.
And I was needing to fill out some paperwork, and part of it says, "What's the address of your property?" And I looked through the paperwork, and there's nothing that listed an address. And so I just needed to figure out what the address was. And I went to several city offices here in town and finally ended up in city zoning and planning. And I told that guy, I said, "Hey, this is where my property is." I showed him on his computer. I said, I just need to know what is my physical address there. And he looked at it and he said, "Oh, you can't build anything there." I said,
Oh no!
First off, why? Why can I not build anything there? And he said, "Well, the city doesn't recognize it as an officially platted plat of the city." I said, "It's zoned commercial already." And he said, "Well, it says that, but we don't recognize it." And I said, "Well, I'm about to start building." He said, "No, you're not." And he just turned around nonchalantly and went right back to typing on his computer. And I said, "So you're telling me you won't allow me to build?" He said, "I won't sign off on anything to be built on that piece of property." And I said, "Well, why not? Why can't I?" And he just pointed to some files and he said, "That top shelf right there, grab that paper." And he said, "It'll explain it." And I said, well, how about you give me the Cliff Notes? And he kind of shrugged me off on that. And finally I said, there's got to be a workaround on this. And he said, well, yeah, there is a workaround on it. And I said, you could have led with that one rather than just telling me I'm screwed from the beginning. And all I had to do was have a survey crew come out, survey it, and submit it to the city.
Oh my gosh, that's why? Why would he not lead with that? That's not that complicated.
Some people like that little bit of power.
Well, but he didn't have. He didn't even have power. He just is in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I failed an electrical inspection here, not because there was any problem with the work that my electrician had done. The electrical inspector had just walked out and handed me a slip that said I failed. And I said, well, what was the problem? He said, well, in your break room, there is the area where your microwave goes. There's not an outlet cover on that outlet. And I said, well, crap, I got a sack of them right here. I said, give me a little bit. And he said, no, you're not an electrician. You can't do that. And I said, how about you go outside of the building for about 30 seconds and then you come back in and we'll talk. Nope, I've already failed it. You're just gonna have to schedule me back. And I said, okay, well, schedule me now. Now I can't be there for another 2.5 weeks. And I mean, it was a lot. I don't know if I'd want to build a doghouse here after what I went through building this place.
now I know that the City College Station is very similar to that, but I'm very fortunate that my buddy Mark is the home builder and already deals with them to an extent, and so he's familiar with what they do.
Is he going to be your GC?
Yep.
Yeah. See, you're good there. My GC abandoned me.
Oh gosh, no.
Because he had the slab poured, he put the building up, and then I didn't use any of his subs because his subs were stupid high, and I got quotes elsewhere. And as soon as I didn't use his subs because he was going to be getting a kickback on what those guys were doing, he abandoned me, and I became the GC. Then I had to pull all the permits myself, everything. That was and that was real wonderful seeing that he had been paid about $20,000 or $30,000 for his general contractor fee.
Wow.
You learned real quick, didn't you?
Oh yeah, you learned real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Of course, I'm naturally a fast learner, but it's also one of those that, I'm on the hook for this thing now. I have to see this through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And still keep things flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's all the stuff that I'm already making mental notes. So it's one of those things I'm not really getting myself too worked up and too excited yet, because I'm kind of gearing myself up for that stuff. When we go to that point in time where it's time to walk in and move into the office, that's when we'll start getting excited. But
you'll get excited long before that. You'll be standing there in a blank, empty shop, going, "This will go here. This will go here. This will go here."
Absolutely, you will. You'll be looking at bare walls, going, "Okay, I can see this. It's coming. It's coming."
Hey, and if you are looking for plans for a shop, Jeremiah will sell you a set of plans.
That's actually that is the next step. So the next step is I intend to start making some trips. I'm going to travel around the country a little bit, not a lot, but as much as I can. I've already had an offer to run up to go see Mike Brandon's place up in Iowa and see how they got set up.
Hey, we're going to Cold Spring in June.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, just pattern it off of that.
Well, it's only 2 acres, man. But yeah, I've been to Don Calhoun's place. Don's got a huge place, and there's some of it. Like even I talked to John Reese at Acquiring. He's like, "Come on out here," and I love John Reese. He's a great guy. If you've never met him, and they do phenomenal work. But they also are huge. They're massive. So I might go check out his place just to kind of see how they set up their offices and whatnot. In kind of how they approach those things, but their shop size is going to be way bigger than I need.
Right.
I've seen photos of their place, and it's beautiful, man. It's gorgeous.
You say that their shop size is bigger than you'll ever need. Just remember the rule of thumb: you can never build it big enough.
Amen. That's what I'm experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I didn't build big enough at all. Yeah.
You know, you can add on. They'll always take more loan. They'll always give you another loan to add on to your building.
True. Yeah, true.
It's funny. It's funny that we're talking about this because just yesterday, of course, our friend Nick, he stopped in here to look at my shop and kind of walk around it a little bit, which he's been here before. And then he said, "All right, well, appreciate you letting me stop in. I'm gonna head to Jeremiah's now." And he spent the day with Jeremiah looking at his shop because he's in the same position you are. He's wanting to expand.
Yeah. No, it's a good place to be. I think it's going to, for me, I don't know that, I think people tend to get the wrong impression and I don't mean monument people, but just general public there. Oh man, he's going to make so much more money now that he's in a building. The deal is we're just going to be more efficient. I mean, when you understand that we're literally sandblasting outside, it's raining. Now we're closed right now, but it's raining right now. So we wouldn't be able to sandblast. We couldn't even prep anything for the next set of sandblasts.
Not with that attitude.
So, we simple things like, what sandblast material do y'all use?
I like Norton Stone Blast. It's expensive, but it lasts.
That's what I use.
And it cuts fast.
So you know why you can use that? Because you can reclaim your sand. Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah.
We use Star Blast, and it's still more expensive than need to be. But if you need some, we can go out back, and I've got probably $40,000 worth of it on the ground out there that we can hit with a sieve. Mm-hmm. And you're welcome to it. And whenever we build a new building, I'll get it all with the front end loader and put it in a barrels if you want. In fact, what we'll do is we'll run it through sieves. I'll put it in barrels. I'll sell it to y'all as used sand.
So you're going into competition in the sand game because there's another guy we know. What's his name?
So no, I mean that's just simple things like being able to reclaim sand, being able to have a area that's controlled for you to be able to work in, those kind of things, and make things more efficient. So I'm chasing the efficiency so that we can speed things up.
Oh, just the efficiency of having an overhead crane in your shop, just being able to move stone around rather than using a forklift or your truck or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the layout of your shop, you know what I mean? You want it to be as efficient as possible. I call it the Henry Ford of monument companies. You want an assembly line. You want it to start here and end here, and you want it to be as close to a straight line as possible so you don't have to pick that rock up and move it all around the shop. So, I highly encourage anybody who's getting ready to build a new shop or who's thinking about it, man, reach out to other monument companies. Go by and see them. Go visit with them. I will tell you, probably 95% of all monument companies you're going to go see they're going to be friendly. They're going to talk to you. They're going to show you what they're doing, how they're doing it. And it may not be what you want to do, but at least gives you some ideas that maybe you can take something from this shop, something from that shop, and just make your own, And I highly encourage anybody.
Everybody's done their own little bit of innovation in their shop.
Yeah. Yep.
And
absolutely.
And I can guarantee I can walk into your shop, Jeremiah, which is really similar to mine, and I'm going to see things different in yours than what I see in mine.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Even though it's probably the same footprint, we still have it. We have it laid out a little differently, and it's just because I had the opportunity to come and see your place and how you had it built and laid out. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And this is a great idea. And this is a great idea. I'm going to take that and utilize it in my own shop and kind of just tweak some things to, based upon our business structure, and it's huge. I wish I had the opportunity to go and visit more shops, before I built mine, and because I'm sure there's some other things I probably could have gained from other places that probably would have benefited me in some form in the future, but I tell you, I highly encourage people to do that, like Nick was doing, and I know that you guys have had the same, man. We have multiple people come by and visit our shop and take a look at it over the course of the year, and I'm always willing to sit down with anybody, and I'm an open book. I don't have all the answers, but I'm gonna, I'll answer any questions they have, to the best of my ability, and tell them what's working for me. But I tell people all the time, what's working for me may not work for you guys.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So,
Yeah,
that's why I want to go see a few of these shops. I've been fortunate to see a number of them already, but just kind of get an idea what makes sense. What's the most functional things, and you don't have, you may just pick and choose little things out of each one as you're going along, and that's kind of what a couple of weeks, I guess last week or whatever, I said for blueprints on if anybody's got blueprints of their shops, really because I want to see a bunch of them before I start designing mine to see kind of like what's the right way to go.
It's funny. I of course, in that group message that we had, the three of us had, I told you I didn't know where mine was anymore. And then I found it and I sent you a picture of it unrolled. But I can send you the absolute original blueprint for this shop. And I have to give credit to my wife. My wife is the one that laid out the blueprint for this shop. And she did it in Microsoft Excel.
Oh, wow.
She made each one of those little spaces one by one. And then she drew the lines out and she said, I think this is what you should do. And I was like, that looks pretty good to me. And so then I went to an architect with an Excel spreadsheet, handed it to him. And I said, I need plans for this, please.
I'm sure that's better than some of the things I've seen.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's better than the first run of ChatGPT I had. So it's
Man.
But well, I'll leave y'all with this as we wrap up. There's a new product that's out, and I kind of teased y'all with this a little bit before in our text message. Everybody has been clamoring for where is MoniMask.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know where MoniMask is, and I don't know what happened with it, and I don't know the story. I just know that for some reason, all of a sudden, you can't get it. And so we kind of resorted to a couple of things that we've used. Of course, we went backwards and went back to the old molasses trick, which works, but it's a pain in the butt because you've got to come back and clean it up.
Messy.
It is messy. So then we tried using just Dawn dish soap, on the roller as if it was molasses and doing the same thing. And it works pretty well. But you still have to clean it up, right? So you still got to, you're going to kind of do it anyway, right? You're going to scrub it down and do all that stuff. However, the guys over at Professional Mask, so it's, and we use them for, they're kind of the competition to resist, right? They do the thin sandblast material stuff, and that's where we get our stuff for that thin blast material is from Professional Mask. But they have produced their own called You Mask It, and they sent me a sample of it this week, and I talked about how we were repainting over at the A&M Vet School this week, trying to get ahead of the football games. And we started working out over there this week using it. And I told him, so it's Darren, who's the owner over there, is a great guy. And I said, man, I'm worried about it because I experienced staining with the MoniMask. And it would leave marks. So you would have to kind of cover the whole thing. You couldn't just cover a section. And he said, no, not with this. And he sent me pictures of some that they worked on of all things, limestone. No staining.
Yeah, if it doesn't stain limestone, you're in the clear.
Yeah, no staining. So, and considering that's what we were repainting, then it was perfect. So we used it. And it's funny. I talked to him today after we used it because we didn't have a lot of trouble with it. It was little things, and I go, oh, you should have covered it. Like getting it off, we were struggling. And I go, oh, well, the more coats you use, because we just used one, the more coats you use, the easier it comes off. I go, oh.
Yeah, and that's the reverse of MoniMask. We were always told as thin as possible.
Yeah. So, yep. So, you want to go on thin because otherwise you're going to push into the letters.
Correct.
But you can go back over it again, and it makes it easier to peel off. This stuff peeled off easier. It didn't have to roll up. It peeled like MoniMask seemed to peel like dead skin, and it would break up as you pull. This stuff held together the whole way through in just one pass on it. You was pulling nonstop. We would have strings this long. So It was crazy. No
Did you cover
staining.
the whole
All
stone?
do
Yeah,
what?
that's what I was asking. Did you cover the whole stone or just a portion?
Covered the
of it?
whole stone. Yeah. Well, we covered the area that we were going to work, but it's a limestone face around there's a statue in the middle of this thing. So I sent you all the pictures.
Yeah, look
and
at
we
your,
just,
look at your pictures.
yeah, it is this kind of the face of this area. And then the top of it didn't get covered other than by a tarp and stuff like that. So
See, whenever
No,
you
we
sent
didn't.
that picture, I thought that you were talking about you were doing the engraving on it on site.
I
No.
did too. Yeah, I did too.
yeah, no. We just repainted it. So it is, that is that material on there. And the last picture or the first picture that I ended up sending, it was actually the complete and it's wet because he washed it.
Right.
So, but it is limestone repainted, went easy as can be. So, and you can order it from their website. So it is professionalmask.com/u-mask-it. So, that's, and this is a plug because it's a good product. They're not paying us for any of this. So, because Austin didn't know anything about it other than I just told him that we're doing it. But, so this was as everybody's been looking for one of those products again.
How long have they had this product?
Apparently it's pretty new,
Okay.
but it is available. I was thinking like they weren't ready to sell it yet. In fact, I called Oscar this morning, who's over there with Darren, to say, man, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. Are y'all ready to sell it? And he goes, oh yeah, no, they got it up on the website so you can purchase through their website. Now,
How does it come? Does it come in 1 pound, 5 pounds?
it comes in like quarts.
Quarts. Okay.
So it comes in a quart, and we pour it out into a little tray with a roller like you did before. And so you can get the kit that they sell their kit that has the roller and stuff like that. They have two different versions. So I think the version we used was their regular U-Masket. It's at $55. There's another one that's called U-Masket HD for $60. I don't know the difference. It does say what it specifically says is higher build version engineered to bridge heavy textures, voids, apply after establishing 4 coats of base for the regular U-Masket. So if you would end up using that, I guess if you had like a thermal finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
To help you kind of pull that off. But yeah, so man, it was a great product. It worked really well. So I know everybody's kind of looking for an alternative to that, and there is one. So I was really pleased.
I'm ordering right now. Like,
Yeah.
I've been looking for something. We've gone back to the molasses for some things because the last batch of Mondi mask I had, I did half of a stone, and
Mhm.
I turned it into a 2-tone stone, and then
man.
ended up having to re-roll the entire stone just so the stain would match.
Oh,
Yeah, we've had to do that. Has anybody
Yeah.
tried the mild supply version?
They have a version.
I
they
knew
do.
that they had one, but I have not tried it.
Yeah, we got some in the shop. We just haven't had a chance to try it yet. I'll let you guys know how that does as well.
Yeah. So if there's a mild supply version out there, guys, too, then you'll know that. So it's not there's not just one. There's multiple out there. Try them out and see. So as everybody's kind of trying to find something to use, you don't have to feel like you're stuck.
I don't think Mild Supply has released it yet. They just
Okay.
sample to use and test, and so I don't know if it's on the market yet. But I do know that from what I've been told is that they're going to introduce something to the public soon.
Yeah.
I don't know how it compares.
I didn't do a side by side. I didn't have it, so I didn't know what to do. But I'll tell you the pucker factor on using this over there on campus for the first go around was pretty high.
I can
And
imagine.
Did you
but
test it before?
I don't do that crap. You know that.
He doesn't read instructions, man.
No,
I don't know if he understands.
no. Do I look like a guy that does that kind of thing? No, we just go with it.
We'll do it live.
It's good enough for O'Reilly. It's good enough for me.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But other than that, what else y'all got going on? Of course, we get into other topics, and for Jeremiah, I know, Austin doesn't care about football, but football's here.
I'm actually going to try to pay attention this year.
Well, we're in the heart of it now, so we're right there at the doorstep.
I need a team. I don't have.
Well, let me tell you about this team in the heart of Texas.
Oh,
That
my
has.
goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. I've always been an Aggie at heart. I've always loved A&M. My intent was to go there. I went to Tarleton, loved it, never left.
You're already a part of the system.
Yeah, I'm part of the A&M system anyways, so I don't know.
No comment.
But yeah, no, we kind of already, of course, off it. But while you were on the phone, Austin, we kind of were going over some of the matchups this weekend. It's coming up. A&M's got a little powder puff game with UTSA. Ole Miss, the same kind of thing. There's
Now,
only
I am going to watch the UT Ohio game.
So there's only that's one of three games that has any value this weekend. UT Ohio State is the big one. The line has continued to move. I'm going to refresh just to see if it moved again. UT Ohio State line is currently at Ohio State -1.5, and the over/under is 46.5. So they're expecting it to be close, at least in Vegas. But I heard there was some writing up on it going like, oh, it's going to be a big blowout for Ohio State. It's going to be a big blowout for Texas. And,
Almost take the over.
I think I would take the over as well. But I like Ohio State and the numbers on that one. It's and that's not even with my maroon colored glasses. That's the national champions are going to come back and lose it at home immediately following. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, I agree. At home, if it was at Texas, I would be more willing to take Texas. But I think since it's away at Ohio State, I'm kind of leaning towards them. But I would definitely take the over.
And you've got Arch, who really hasn't had a start. So the other one's LSU Clemson at Clemson. That one's -4.5, and the over/under is higher. You're 57.5. And Jason's going to hate me on this, but man, I think Clemson.
And the thing about LSU is that they had the number one transfer portal this year. They really reloaded on defense, but if you go off of history, LSU does not have a good record for their first game of the year.
No,
and it's at Clemson. And don't
at night.
At night too. Yeah. My son's actually going to that game.
Yeah,
he left about 3:00 heading going to Clemson. So I'm kind of interested on how it's going to go. It's going to be
that's kind of a toss up. What was the over under?
Over/under is 57.5.
57.5.
I don't know. I took the over. I think I said maybe over on that. I bet that's a closer game, and it's probably a low scoring defensive game, and I would say probably the under, maybe the better bet on that one.
Yeah.
So the other one is not till Sunday, and that is Notre Dame Miami at Miami, and regardless of what Vegas says, which is Notre Dame -2.5. Considering we have Notre Dame in over there in South Bend in 2 weeks, go Canes.
Never bet against Notre Dame though, man. I think that Miami's not going to be what they had last year.
Yeah, Miami is still got some kinks in the hand, and they've lost a few players as well. So that one's going to be rather interesting. But of course, Austin, I texted you earlier this week because in baseball.
I know you.
No, I'm not. I wasn't even going to go into your injury list. But how it's gotta be really tough to be a Rockies fan right now.
Woo.
Oh,
Oh, we're not even in September, and they've already been eliminated.
I think they were eliminated in like week 3 of the season. That, gosh, that's a dumpster fire of epic proportions. And
Hey guys, I got to get off of here. I got a family pulling up.
All right, man. Well, hey, it was great talking to you.
we'll have them on too. It'll be fun.
Yeah, well, I can sell it to them.
It's 2 carloads and nobody.
Oh
else
gosh, no! They're gonna want to meet with you in the cemetery. Get out of there.
Yeah,
Well, Jeremiah,
here, guys. Hey, it's been a pleasure, man.
yes, sir. Thanks for
It's
coming.
good talking to you, man.
All right, bud. Talk to y'all later.
All
Have a
right,
good
bye.
Bye.
So yeah, you've got the Rockies there. They're at 284. I don't know what the worst record in baseball is.
It's got to be that.
Well, let's go to Perplexity and find out what is the worst
Not an official sponsor of the podcast.
record in MLB history. It's looking. I didn't know that there was a team called the Cleveland Spiders.
It started out as the Cleveland Spiders, then turned into the Cleveland Indians, and then unfortunately turned into the Cleveland Guardians.
Okay, so they hold that record at 130.
Ooh.
So
Of course, back during that time, they weren't playing a full 162.
I guess, but in the modern era, as it says here, in the modern era, was not that long ago.
The White Sox.
It was just last year.
It was the White Sox last year, and this year it'll be the Rockies.
Yeah, 248 last year for the White Sox, which is Rockies will get it this year. That's a rough number. For you Rockies fans out there, that sucks. I don't know. Do y'all still have a shot at the wild card? Okay.
Still a shot at the wild card, but the more feasible option, in all honesty, is the division. Because it's still tight. And that's the thing that's been most frustrating about the AL West this season is it just seems like it's been stagnant the whole time. Everybody's just kind of sat for a while, and the margins really haven't changed that much.
No.
Whenever
for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
For like a month and a half.
Whenever the Astros win, so do the Mariners and the Rangers, and whenever they lose, so do the others.
Yep.
And it's just been this kind of just stagnant, because what are y'all ahead right now? Like
6.5 from y'all, 2 from the Mariners. Yeah.
Yeah. And all it will take is 2 good series to change it. And Rangers have come in off of 2 really good series, one in which we absolutely leveled the Angels. Wish I'd have seen that offense the rest of the year.
But y'all lost some key players just this week.
Yep. Seager, appendicitis. So he's out probably for the rest of the season. Simeon, fractured foot. He's out for the rest of the season. Our ace pitcher, which is arguably the best pitcher in all of baseball, Nathan Eovaldi, rotator cuff strain. He's down. And so now we're to the point, might as well just push the chips.
And truthfully, with a rotator cuff strain, you would have to be back inside of 3 weeks. And it's
3 weeks. 3 weeks is done.
Yeah. So Astros, the funny thing about it is, of course, your injuries are coming at the wrong time. Stroh's finally got Jordan back this week. Mm-hmm. So that's good news for him. Of course, they lost the first game he was back, but nevertheless, it's a good piece to have back. It's finally you're in the right frame of mind with that stuff. But I'm
hoping the Rangers, they start a series tonight against the A's at the A's, but even though the A's have not been doing well in our division, they are, I forgot over how many of their past series. They're like 20-10 right now. They're rolling.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're excited about their new digs coming up.
Yeah.
That stadium release is crazy.
Oh, since it's going to be in Vegas, you know it's going to be over the top.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would go watch that. Almost, I've not been a big Vegas guy because I'm just not into. I care less about. While I talk about the gambling when it comes to sports, it's really because I want to know kind of what the outcome looks like. But I'm not a big gambling guy.
Same
But
here.
I now have interest in going to Vegas. One, see their new stadium that's going to be built, and two, to go to the Sphere. So
I want to go to the Sphere.
Yep.
Yep.
So maybe that's a trip we need to make. We rock at the Sphere.
Just say when.
All right. Are there any monument shops out there?
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
we're gonna
got to be. There's got to be.
All right, here we go. Let's see.
I've never been to a monument shop west of the state of Texas.
There are a handful of them. Yeah, we can go. Well, I could list them, but I'm not going to because I don't know who these people are. But 1, 2, 3.
Which out there, it's got to be a lot of cremation.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few of them out there. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do anything good.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. So there you go. That's what we know.
That's all. We know.
Yeah. So big weekend football for us. Labor Day weekend, so we get an extra day, and then we're going to celebrate me getting older on Monday as well. So it's the rest of my weekend looks like this: bourbon and cigar, football, relax, bourbon and cigar, and German food.
That's called vacation.
Call it what you want. Sounds like a good time to me.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. Well, on that note, y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy whatever it is y'all are doing, and we'll catch y'all the next time.
Sounds good. We'll see you.